Today we're going to talk about nonfiction text structure. So the structure of the text is going to be how it's made up, what is the organization of it, and how might you understand the structure to better understand the text and what it's about. So we're going to talk about 5 text structures that help you to understand informational text or nonfiction. The first one is going to be the most common. It's describing something. I like to think of that with a circle map or a bubble map. You put what it's describing in the center, you put all the details around it. It's talking about whales, and whales are mammals, and whales live in the ocean, and whales feed their young with milk, and whales do this. That would be all around the edges. That is description. Also, we like to look at comparing and contrasting. Comparing is going to tell how things are the same, and contrast is going to tell how they are different. We like to think of that with a double bubble map. We would put whales and dolphins in the 2 big circles, then put how they are similar in the center and how they are different in the outside based on the text. The third kind is going to be problem and solution. I like to think of that in a brace map. I put the problem here and then possible solutions here. The next one is going to be sequencing or chronological. I like to use a flow map. This happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. A lot of times people think of chronological with a timeline. That works the same. I just was using their thinking maps here, but it's the same thing if you think about it in a timeline. The last one is going to be cause and effect. There's a cause, and then because of this, something happens, and there is an effect. It comes later. I like to think of this in a multi-flow map where we have the cause here, and then we have possible effects here, things that could happen because of that cause. So let's look at some books. The best way to think about nonfiction text structure is going to be to examine some text and think through them with me. So we're going to start with Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman this is a book about her life. This is a book about her contribution to the Underground Railroad and how she helped so many slaves escape. So this is going to be description. It is going to describe Harriet Tubman, who she was, what she did. It may travel chronologically, so you may be able to put it here as well, but most of it, if it's written like a story that you read, is not going to follow a chronological from beginning to end, but it could. But this one is going to be descriptive. The next one we have is the dynamic duos, and this one is comparing and contrasting different football players. So it compares and contrasts Tom Brady and Randy Moss. How are Tom Brady and Randy Moss similar, and how are they different? That's going to be comparing and contrasting. Then we also have divorce. It can happen to the nicest people. What's the problem? Getting a divorce. Your parents are getting a divorce. That could be a problem, right? So what are some ways that you could deal with it? What are some strategies? And this book is full of strategies that you could use to help you to be successful in a family that is having to deal with divorce. So the problem is divorce. The solutions are the things that you can do to try to help deal with that. Sequencing or chronological, we have world history. This is going to be that timeline that we're talking about. This text starts in the Renaissance and goes forward to the 21st century. So it starts early and then goes through chronologically, goes through sequentially as time passes and we become more and more of an advanced society. Chronological or sequencing. And then we have Kit's World, which is going to be cause and effect. This is talking about a little girl's view of the Great Depression. So because of the Great Depression, these are things that happened to Kit because of the Great Depression. The Kit Kittredge, An American Girl, is a fiction text. However, this text is nonfiction because it has real people and real things. These children had feed sack clothing, feed sack fashion, and that was because of the Great Depression. So these were effects of the Great Depression. All right, now it's your turn to practice. I'm going to go through and show you 5 texts. I want you to look at our anchor chart, and I want you to decide what is the nonfiction text structure. I'm going to go through all 5 of them, and then I would like for you to pause and tell me what you think the nonfiction text structure is, and then pick back up and I'll tell you the answers, but I want you to try first. Okay, book number 1 is Tara and Bella, the elephant and dog who became best friends. Book number 1. Book number 2, George Washington. George Washington. Book number 3, Discovering Whales and Dolphins. Whales and Dolphins. Cesar Chavez. Now, I will tell you that this is I'm going to be very specific about this one so you know which one it fits in. Cesar Chavez had a problem, and he made some steps to help alleviate something in society. So that's what I want you to focus on about this one. He had a problem, and he fixed that problem. And The Journey of Hope, the story of Irish immigrants to America. And I want you to focus in this one, how it's an interactive history that starts at the beginning in Ireland and then comes through their entire journey to make it to America. All right, pause the video and travel with me back through those 5 and guess nonfiction text structure. Okay, so now we're back. Everybody has made their guesses, and we're going to go through. All right, first we have Tara and Bella, the elephant and the dog who became best friends. This is cause and effect. Cause and effect. So we have an elephant and a dog that, because they became friends, what were some effects of their relationship? Things that came because of their friendship. All right, cause and effect. Then we have discovering whales and dolphins. What did you say? If you said compare and contrast, you are correct. It tells how whales and dolphins are similar and different. All right, George Washington, what did you say? Descriptive. It describes George Washington. Why is he important? What did he do? What effect did he have on our society? All right, and then Cesar Chavez, I was very specific. There was a problem. The problem was migrant workers were being mistreated. So he came up with the United Farm Workers of America, and that problem was solved. We started having regulations, and people started being treated more fairly. All right, problem and solution. And then, last but not least, we have Journey of Hope, which is, you guessed it, last one, sequencing or chronological. It starts from the beginning of their journey when they're in Ireland and they immigrate to America. At the end of the book, they're in America. If you have questions about nonfiction text structure, pause the video. You can copy down the anchor chart or email your teacher. Have a great day.